Hi, Dorothy. I see you in the chat. I really apologize, guys. I don't know what happened to my camera. All of a sudden, I turned it on and it's not there. Rather than to delay this live stream, I'm just going to go ahead with it and see what happens. So I appreciate, Dorothy, that you're here. Thank you for showing up. Yeah. So I guess today we're going to be doing this sort of podcast style, interactive podcast style. Go figure, right? So want to welcome everybody who is joining us here. um, and I want to be sure to welcome those who will be joining us in the future. Yes, we're doing this a little bit differently today because my camera is not working for some reason, and I don't have a tech person who can help me right now. And just found out about 3 minutes before I went live. So, our topic today is about physical pain. And before we get started on this, I want to go ahead and just open the space as we have been doing in these live streams. So, those of you who are here, I appreciate your presence because you are, with your energy, also helping to hold the space for all of us who are here now and for those who will come in the future. So, your presence has power and your presence is greatly appreciated. My presence is here as well for Sheila and Currency Kami. I think that is your name is. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I am, my camera's not working, so we're just going to go with it today. All right, so let's go ahead and take a deep breath and settle into our circle here. And as you do so, tune into your heart center, the space at the center of your chest, and breathe deeply, feeling your lungs, the inhale and the exhale of your lungs moving your heart space as though you are pumping love into the atmosphere, into our environment and our circle here today. And I'm just asking for our space to be opened for what needs to transpire for the highest good of all of those who are present and those who are tuning in at a later time. And I see us in a circle, and I'm setting the directions so that we have a nice safe space here, setting the east, the west, the south, the north. And I kind of see them as pegs on a tent. So we're inside this tent of our meeting place with our spiritual guides, with the light beings who come to administer healing and uh, elevation of awareness. And those ancestors are here, but they're not feeling like they want to be active today. So they're here around the sides. And let's just set our intention to have a clear stream in spite of the technical difficulties in the beginning, to bring to light those things that will be most useful for those who are interested in the topic of uh, healing physical pain. So, I really feel like I'm handicapped here without my thing because I had some pictures to show you and all of that. But I think I can get through this. So, I'm curious for those of you who are here, why this topic interests you, and you can feel free to go into the chat and let me know um, what you're really here to discover about the topic of healing physical pain. Are you a healer? Are you having physical pain? What is it that you would like to walk away with feeling more illuminated about? And as we're doing that, I want to just take you through just a quick body scan. Since we've opened our space, we've set our intentions. Let's just go through a quick body scan because everybody, it seems these days, is unless you've just come out of a massage and a sauna and and a yoga session and you're feeling all loose and limp, everybody has some level of physical discomfort these days. Yes, you're a healer and you love learning new things. Thank you for sharing currency, Kami. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Yeah, so go ahead and just close your eyes or don't close your eyes, whatever, however you tune in, and go through your body. Start at your head and move down from your head, and you may want to move your body a little bit and just tune into where there is maybe tension or discomfort. Move down into your chest and your torso, your hips, your legs, your feet. Yeah, so you may have felt some discomfort. You may have felt something that's chronic or something that maybe you haven't felt before in your body. I'd love to know what that is if you're feeling anything in your body. And I'm tuning you in today because it's really important not to ignore physical pain in the body. It's just as important to pay attention to the physical pain as it is to not um, allow yourself to get uh, so caught up in it that it has power over you. And I hope to kind of unravel that as we talk. So, um, your body is always speaking to you. You know, your body is always giving you little nudges, little messages, little, uh, you know, uh, even when you go to eat food, sometimes your body can give you a signal of, well, that doesn't look very good or doesn't smell very good. I can't eat anymore. It's not going to feel good for my digestion. It's always telling you, giving you feedback, and that's why you don't want to ignore it. So let's say that you have a broken bone. You don't want to ignore your broken bone. You don't want to like work through the pain if you break your arm and continue to play the piano, right? Because your bone, your broken bone, the pain from that is telling you something that you need to stop and pay attention to. Go and get your broken arm put in a cast so that it can heal, right? And the same is true, like the body also processes emotional pain. And I had a really good visual here that I drew out of the physical, emotional, and mental bodies. And I can't show it to you today. But basically, what I wanted to tell you about that is that, you know, the body is always communicating with the physical body is always communicating with your emotional body, your emotional energy body, and your physical and your mental energy body. And the emotions are kind of like the pre-thought awareness, and they can get stuck in your body, and your body can translate that as pain. So there's like a communication that goes back and forth. And then what happens with that is if you are in a place where you can stop, feel your body, feel what it's telling you, release those emotions, or let's say you're you've experienced a trauma. Let's say you had a little fender bender, and you experienced a trauma in your body that brought up a lot of adrenaline and the whole chemical response of fight and flight and um, all of that. And you haven't, and if you're able to just sort of work that through your body, like let's like an animal does in the wild. Animals often will have little traumas. They'll run into something, or they'll have like a fight or flight thing, or something is chasing them or whatever. But if you watch them, they'll shake their bodies out so that they can release all of that chemistry. And for us, we're a little bit more complex. We have emotions, and our feelings get hurt, or we have an argument with someone, and that can get lodged into our bodies as well. And we have to allow ourselves time and space to release that in order for us to heal from it. And when you can catch it in those moments where you can just sort of move and let it go and process through the emotions and release it, then your body doesn't necessarily hold on to that pain, unless of course there's a broken bone or something like that. But there's this issue with us because we're complicated beings here, and we have these minds that like to think and make sense of things. There's a lot of times what happens is we don't have in the modern world a space or a place to really stop and release trauma, release the fight or flight, release the chemistry from our bodies, release the emotional hurt and the pain, and therefore it sort of gets lodged inside of us. And um and it will then eventually move into the mental body, because the mental body is trying to make sense of what has happened in the physical body. And that's what Eckhart Tolle calls the pain body. So there's this whole complex dynamic that can happen when we let pain um, move, when we don't let pain move through us, the physical chemistry move through us and out of us at the time when we experience the hurt or the pain or the trauma. So let's see, where am I going with this? If you could see me now, I have this like a whole yellow page full of of notes, and I want to hit the highlights here. So basically what I'm saying is it's so important to listen to your pain. And the distinction I want to make here with this whole little explanation about how the physical, emotional, and mental bodies can work together to perpetuate pain, to try and tell you, "Hey, stop, pay attention," is that you want to remember that the body oftentimes speaks in symbolisms. It will speak in the pain, but it will speak in symbolism, and the mind speaks in story. So once you have gotten to the point where you have a story about pain, about the pain that you're experiencing, you know, then it's like you have an extra layer that you've got to kind of work through to get back to the actual place in your body where this pain is stored, so that you can release it. Oh, Sheila, you're here because a notification popped up. Yay, the notifications are working. Um, Splenic instinct. Yep, right now. Not a healer yet. Everybody is a healer. I'm so glad you said you're not a healer yet, Sheila, because everybody has the ability to heal themselves, to heal yourself, or to be a healing presence for others. So we're kind of hardwired for this. We're hardwired to use our energy in a way where we affect other people. And if you're into the human design, if you're a human design enthusiast, you understand that our what you're looking at on your human design body graph is the mechanics of your aura and how it affects other people, right? So you have it in you, you have it neurologically wired within you, physiologically wired within you, energetically hardwired within you to be a presence for others in a way when you're in the healthy expression of your body, mind, and spirit in a way that where you can be a healer for others, a healing presence for others, and where you can modulate your energy and your focus to be um, to to uh, to actually send healing energy to others. I'm not going to go too much into that. But I will mention that this is kind of this information that you're getting today is prep work for the workshop that I've got coming up in November. It starts November 6th. It's called Activate Your Healing Powers. And if you believe that you're not a healer yet, that's the workshop you want to go to. And I've left the information in the description below, so you can go ahead and check that out. But anyway, whether or not you come to that workshop, I really want to tap into this notion of everybody being a healer, and it all starts with you understanding the language of pain, the language of what your body is telling you, um, and the language of really getting down into the symbolism that your body is telling you, and also the weeding that out from maybe the stories, the drama, the things that people uh, that you may hold on to mentally that really keeps you from being the healer that you are for yourself, and thereby cultivating your energy in a way where you can be a healing presence for others. Now, see, I'm already a little bit frustrated here because I have other stuff to show you. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the symbolism, and I will do my best. I have a whole chart here of like the human design body graph and all of the um, energy centers, and how you can, when you're having a physical symptom, or having physical pain, or something that a health challenge that just won't go away, that's centered in a part of your body. Each gate and channel in your energy, in your body graph, and each energy center is related to uh, an organ or a physiological function in the body. So I'm just going to go through these so that you can just have I'm going to go, not all the no, I'm not going to go through all the gates. Going to go through the energy centers so you can have a little bit of an idea about um, if you're having a physical challenge, where what may be happening in terms of your energy centers and the body graph and your design. Now, I want to take this back to you understanding that this is how you're going to unravel and get down to the nuances of how you use your energy and manage your energy in a way that keeps you working from your definition, rather than burning yourself out and working from your conditioning. So there are lots of little nuances about that when you go to look at your chart that you really have to tease out. But these energy centers are going to give you clues about um, where to begin to look at how you're managing energy. And this is one way that your body can be talking to you through your pain and through your physical challenges. So let's start at the root. The root center at the bottom of your body graph is about the adrenals. It's about uh, uh, the in some of the gates, the colon, the urogenital diaphragm, but mostly the adrenals, like adrenal pressure. So, if you're having adrenal issues, if you're not managing stress well, it's important for you to look at your root center and how it is designed to function within the whole context of your design, and how you may be using that energy either in a healthy or unhealthy way. The solar plexus, if you follow the root up to the right, is where you filter or experience emotional energy. It has a lot to do with digestion. And on a symbolic level, it has to do with what how you are digesting life. Um, and it rules the emotional chemistry in your body. Over to the left of coming up from the root center is the spleen center, which is about the immune system and the lymph system. And again, it's a filtering system. It's about you know uh, being being able to filter toxins, uh, being aware of, in general, this is a theme, being aware of what's healthy, what's not healthy in the moment. And just as an aside, if you have an undefined spleen center, you may actually be taking in, if you're having physical challenges, taking in a lower level of well-being from other people and mistaking it for your own. So I'm going to get into that in a moment, but I just wanted to give you that as an aside. The sacral center, which is straight up from the root center, is like the engine for life force, right? And it's all about your reproductive organs, and your creativity on that symbolic level. So how are you using your creativity? How have you used your life force, your reproductive how have you taken care of yourself during your reproductive years, those kinds of things. And of course, if you're a generator, a manifesting generator, are you in touch with your sacral response, and are you following the uh-huhs of your sacral response to experience those things that are healthy for you? Or if you're undefined, of course, it's about, have you overworked yourself? And are you really overzealous about work and activity that's not really for you? The will center, the heart center, which is that little triangle that's up before the diamond that's in the center of the chest. Is between the diamond in the center of the chest, which is the G. And if you could see me, I'm making a diamond with my hands, and the solar plexus, which is on the lower right. So that little triangle is known as the will center or the heart center. And it governs the functions of the heart, the lungs, the gallbladder, all of those things, where you, and the stomach as well, um, where you need to really be cognizant of operating according to what you have the heart for, whether or not you have the will for things on that symbolic level. And also, if you have a defined heart center, it's about really paying attention to when you need to rest your heart, when you need to take a deep breath, those kinds of things. The throat center, which is like the gearbox at the throat area, and I skipped over the G, I'll come back. The throat center is like the central hub for all of your hormonal functions. So, if you're having throat issues, where have you sort of burnt out your hormonal system? Where have you worked extra hard? If you have a non-motorized throat or an open throat, where have you worked extra hard to get attention, where um, you aren't really appreciated or seen for who you are? And the G center, coming back down to that diamond in the center of the chest, is about it's about identity, love, and direction, but it's also related to the liver, and in a sense, it's connected to the heart. On the spleen side, it's connected to instinct. And one thing I will say about this is if you're not being yourself, or if you're not in the right environment that brings out the best in you, if you're not being yourself and you're not in the right environment that brings out the best in you, because if you're undefined in the G center, um, then it's going to create a lot of instability around how you love yourself, um, how you filter. Liver is the is symbolically about anger. In Chinese medicine, it's about filtering anger. And also, it's a place where you can really get caught up in really holding on to toxic environments, toxic things. Um, if you're undefined, it's really not a good idea for you to drink a lot, because you can lose your direction, according to Ra Uru Hu. So, those types of things are, if you're dealing with liver issues, look at how you're working with the energy of your G center. And then with the head and ajna, I'm going to kind of take these together, because this is all about the ajna is all about mental anxiety. It's about the pituitary gland, the neocortex, the inner ear, uh, depending on which gates. Um, and it's about your thoughts, the mental anxiety that you can have, and where your thoughts are taking you. And then your head center is about your pineal gland. So again, another hormonal regulating, these two, pituitary and pineal, are other hormonal regulating mechanisms. So if you're having issues with hormone balance and all of that, look at what you're taking in, or how you're using the energy in the head center of inspiration, and the energy in the ajna of thinking thoughts that are yours, either yours to think, or if you are influenced or conditioned to have a lot of mental anxiety. And this may be a clue for where you need to go and look to alleviate some of the physical uh, the underpinnings of the physical issues that you may be having. So I know I went through that very quickly. I just wanted to share a little bit with about that, and I wish I had the picture up on the screen, because it makes it a lot easier. If you anything popped off for you there in terms of insight, I'd love to hear about it in the chat. So I'm looking at my notes here. Let's see. What I really want to talk about in the time we have left is one question that you can ask yourself to discern what your pain is telling you. And that question is, what's the source? What's the source of my pain? What is the source of the, and I'm even going to reframe that. What is the source of the pain I'm experiencing? Because when you say my anything, you own it, right? And it's not a thing to be, pain is not a thing that you really want to own. It is an experience you are having that is leading you into greater awareness and mastery of yourself. So what's the source? And as I was talking about, the body speaks in a lot of symbolism, and the body also speaks through uh, the conditions that it develops, as we talked about with the energy centers, and using that as clues about where your pain is coming from, what may be involved in terms of how you are managing energy. But some of the other things that you can dig into when you're really looking at what's the source is to understand, first of all, is it mine or is it someone else's? And as I mentioned with the spleen center, the sometimes you take on the pain of other people. You can also take it on through an undefined G center. You can take it on because you have gates or channels that that give you the tendency to be extra empathic and to be receptive to the needs of other people. So it's always important to ask, is especially if you're really open in your chart, is this pain mine, or is it coming from someone else? Am I just taking it on? You know, uh, is it another question? Another part way you can drill in is it physical, mental, or emotional? Where is the source? Is it the emotional? Did I have some sort of an emotional thing happen that maybe got lodged in my cellular memory that now I'm having a thought about, and it's bringing out this issue for me to look at? That maybe I didn't see before or I was ignoring. And now the body is trying to speak. The densest part of our being the body, is trying to get the message across of what this is about. Um, is it about unreleased trauma? And again, that goes back to what I was just saying. Or is it present life or past life? Sometimes we come in with issues, and this is where we transcend human design here, you guys. So sometimes we come in with issues around, um, you know, some people come in with like uh, a birthmark, or maybe a deformity, a bone deformity, or some kind of a deformity of some sort that maybe is related to a past life trauma. And in that case, you want to go back, and you may not be able to heal that. It may actually be something that is serving that person for their mastery in this life, their evolution and mastery in this life. So when you're going through this stuff, you can sit with your body, sit in meditation. Sometimes it helps to journal and have a conversation with your body. Sometimes you can get information through muscle testing. And I wish I could show you how to muscle test here. If you guys aren't sure about how to do that, I'm sure you can Google it. I was going to show you, but I can't. So, and I don't know if I can explain it well enough. If any of you have a resource for muscle testing, go ahead and put it in the chat. Okay. Constipation, letting go, and fears around eating and gaining weight. Yeah. Yeah, so Leah, you're saying that the body says no by Gabor Mate. I think that's how you pronounce his name. Is a great book that relates. Thanks for sharing that. Yeah, and constipation and letting go. That's it can be a spleen issue. If you're holding on with your undefined spleen because you're feeling insecure, it could be a solar plexus. It could be how you're managing your solar plexus energy in terms of digestion. It could be any number of things or themes depending on what's in your chart. So I'm glad you're moving through your own self discovery process on that. So another, speaking of resources in terms of understanding the symbolism behind physical pain, there are a couple of books which I wish I could show you, but I'll tell you what they are. All of you, or most of you, probably know Louise Hay's book, You Can Heal Your Life. And there's a reference in her book around different physical conditions that you can go to. And she talks about the problem, the probable cause, a new thought pattern. And it's a pretty good book. There's lots of other stuff in here too, in the book, around all areas of life, really. But a lot of people like this book because of how she puts together the thought pattern with the potential or probable cause of the condition. So it's a place to go to get some clues about what your body is trying to tell you. Now, that might not be what your body is trying to tell you. So it's a starting point. It may not be the be all and end all message. Another book that I really like is called Permanent Healing by Dr. Daniel Condron. And let me put that in the chat so that you can have that. I really like his reference, because I just find it, much more, I don't know, practical or, efficient for me. Um, yeah, and he actually does like he takes the action route. You know, Louise Hay takes the mental route of understanding, pain and physical issues, and Dr. Condron takes um, the uh, the action route. And I'm just looking up digestion here, just as since you brought that up, Leah. I think I want to use that if you don't mind. Um, let's see, the digestive system. Refusal to embrace situations occurring in life, difficulty in using experiences of life to gain knowledge of self, thinking life is difficult. So this were my issue, and it sometimes is my issue, um, I I would go through this book and I would just sort of sit with these causes and just ask myself and ask my body, maybe have a little conference with my body and ask my body where I'm thinking that life is difficult, uh, where I'm having difficulty in using experiences to gain knowledge of self, um, and where I'm refusing, if I'm refusing to embrace situations occurring in my life. Now, not all of these would necessarily pertain. So you go to the ones that light up. Trust yourself with that. And then he has a remedy here. Ask yourself this question 10 times each day. What did I learn from the experience I just had? This is about digesting experiences. This is my thought, at least. He's talking about digesting experiences. This learning entails adding to your personality productively. It means you use each experience to improve yourself and make yourself a better person. What did you learn? So I might play around with that for a little while and ask myself that question on a regular basis. What did I learn from this experience that I just had? And I can see in this example of the digestive system that that would actually make me, if I were going through this, it would actually make me more aware of what I'm digesting, or it would help me to digest my experiences a little bit better. So that's just an example. Those are some resources. Leah, thank you for your resource. So that is the main, I feel like that's the main question to ask yourself. What is the source? And then to drill down into that, to really begin to discern whether or not you've picked things up from other people, whether you're in training to somebody's lower vibrational state. That's another thing. I'll talk a little bit more about that when I finish up with what to do about this physical pain that you're having. Um, if you are tuned into past lives, you can really kind of go back and see if intuitively and see if there's any sort of a past life choice that you've made that has carried this experience into your present life. And that's a whole other ball game and topic unto itself, but I'm just going to crack the door on it today. And of course, if there's unreleased trauma, you definitely want to go into that and really be with someone or work with someone, if you need to, who is a professional at helping to release trauma if you've never done trauma work for yourself before. Now, a big place where this shows up is in the sacral center. um, the sacral center is that place of your reproductive organs. And I have worked with so many people who have had, especially women who've been raped, who have had all kinds of things happen to them sexually that maybe they didn't consent to, birth trauma, physical trauma from giving birth, and this can be it can be really draining for someone who is a non-sacral being, because we don't have consistent access to that type of energy anyway. And for generators and manifesting generators I've worked with who've had sexual trauma, it is, in my experience, one of the major things that keeps you from really getting in touch with your sacral response, along with unleashing your creativity and really, money issues. Like, one of the things that I realized in my journey of overcoming under earning is that I had been molested when I was like 9 years old by an alcoholic uncle who was, you know, who actually used money in a way that was really convoluted and woven into this molestation experience. And I had dealt with it uh, with a therapist years and years ago, but then, when I came back into it, everything always circles around. If you're having physical symptoms or symptoms in your life, it'll circle back around when you're ready for the next level. And that's what happened, is it all of a sudden came up for me in all of my work around under earning. And I realized that that was like the key that needed to be unlocked in my sacral center to unleash my next level of income and prosperity. So you can see how all of this sort of moves together. Like, physical pain can be a part of that moves with, like, the emotional and with the trauma and with the with the mental stories. And I had no idea that I was still carrying some of the beliefs and the stories that went with that experience, that were tied up into money and how I wasn't worthy, because my uncle would had a nickname for me. He would call me Crook, and I had to, like, unwind all of that stuff to get to unleash the next level of my creativity and my ability to receive prosperity. So I'm just sharing that with you so that you understand that we're not just a body, and the physical pain a lot of times is just the body mind emotional communication mechanism to get your attention. So when it gets to the point where when you're in physical pain, there can be a lot of other things that are woven into that. Yeah. So Leah says, my oldest daughter and her twins moved in August 2nd, and that's when it really started getting bad. I think I'm scared for them. She's in recovery and worried about caring for both emotionally, and worried about caring for both of them emotionally and financially. Yeah, so that's a place where you really want to, and let's move into this thing about what to do about it. You can There are there are many ways to deal with physical pain, but two that are most effective for me are either rising above or going through it. And I want to address rising above first, and then I want to give you an exercise to go through it. So, and Leah, I don't know if the second one is going to pertain to you, but for your, you know, it sounds like you've taken on a lot, and we could look at that through your human design chart and your whole deconditioning process and all of that, and really get you back to you standing in your own power. And in addition to that, that's like, if you've on some of my other live streams, I've been talking about how human design is the horizontal use of your energy. When your feet hit the ground and you're ready to interact with other people, you can understand how the mechanics of your aura interacts with others through your human design chart, through your human design body graph. And then there's the vertical. You align horizontally, you're in your body and your physical power in your body, so that you can work with others, be with others as yourself on the horizontal by understanding your human design. And then there's the alignment with the vertical, which is about raising your vibration to a higher level, so that some of the issues that you're experiencing, some of the mental, a lot of it is the mental, the fear, the worry, the stuff that you feel like you've taken on. A lot of that is wrapped up in the decondition, understanding how you've been conditioned and deconditioning, and then experiencing a higher level of understanding by just raising your frequency up above the issues, so that they are no longer relevant. So when I used to teach quantum touch, I used to certify quantum touch practitioners. And if you don't know about that technique, and you're having a lot of physical pain, I really recommend that you go to quantumtouch.com. Uh, they don't have an affiliate program, so this isn't an affiliate thing. And just check them out, because they have some really great techniques for using breath and harnessing breath, and your focus and your intention to raise your frequency above where it is, where the pain is for you or the other person, if you're doing energy healing, so that that pain is no longer within your frequency band. And so in general, like it talking about your situation, Leah, if you're able to raise your frequency above the fear and the worry and all of that, and get yourself into a place where you are really standing in your own truth and power at a higher level, those around you will entrain to that higher frequency. So what seemed probably has happened is that you're sort of, what happens with most groups of people is, the ones that on the lower end of the frequency band and the ones on the higher end of the frequency band tend to meet in the middle. And your frequency has probably dropped, which means that you can't be of the highest service to those people that really are need you to be there for them. So that we're gonna, if you're coming to the workshop that starts on the 6th, we're gonna go into that quite a bit on in part one on the 6th. Uh, and also we're going to look at going through the experience. A lot of times what I say is like, there's no way out but through. And it's true. Like a lo- you have to, whether you're having like emotional challenges or life challenges or actual physical pain, we spend a lot of our time trying to avoid it, working around it, paying attention to it, but not in a way that actually does anything. Trying to get rid of it is what we're usually trying to do, especially with physical pain. We're trying to like get in the hot bath and um, soothe it away and ignore it, and take the aspirin or the ibuprofen, which I'm not a doctor, so you do whatever brings you into a place of ease, better ease with your own body. Um, but you know there's real value in just going into something. And I want to take this right into the physical pain, because we could talk about how it's really valuable to face emotional pain and trauma and all of that. But the physical pain is where I've come across this discovery in my own body, of or this technique actually, of really going in to the center of it. And I want to take you into that experience. So that's why I had you sort of do a body scan at the beginning, because I want you to kind of go into a place in your body where you will, where there's some discomfort. And maybe it's a chronic place. Like I actually have a place in my body that in my right hip, and I've been traveling a lot, so it's been acting up. And I know what it's telling me. It's telling me you need to move a little bit more. But I'll tell you, when I was sitting on the plane, I was having that hip pain and that back pain. And I was using this technique and it really seemed to work. So go ahead and tune into a place in your body that is having, that where you're having some physical pain. And notice where your attention is going initially. And you may notice that it's sort of on the outside looking in, that like you're on the outside looking in. And then notice if you're telling yourself anything like, go away, or why are you still there? Or, I need to do X, Y, and Z for this. Just notice it. Just be with it, because this is all data that you can work with later for your own mastery. So without really doing anything, no movement, no anything, take your attention away from the outside. Like what I'm kind of seeing now is this general tendency to sort of metaphorically walk around the pain point, right? Walk around, look at it, poke at it, uh, analyze it, uh, try to tell it to do something different, all of that. Try to change it. Don't change it. Just let it be and see if you can, in your mind's eye, find an entry point into the center of that area of discomfort. And then when you find that entry point, go right into the center. You may choose to breathe really deeply or just naturally if you want. Just don't hold your breath. And if you're still feeling the pain or the discomfort, see if you can find a place that is even more inside, like right at the core of this place of physical discomfort is a neutral spot. Put your attention right there. Okay. Now look around from the inside. Feel around from the inside. And just make note of how the discomfort has shifted. And if you're right in the center, in the blank spot, you probably can't feel the discomfort. So when you're ready, just come on out of that. And now just sort of feel it from the outside. So, what I've discovered with this little technique is that it is impossible to focus on the pain and focus on the blank spot in the center. It's to focus on two things at the same time. So if you're focused on going into it, you can't be focused on the pain. The mind can't do two things at one time. So I'm just curious, like, if anything shifted in your body around that. I know for me, it works every single time. And also, what happens a lot of times with physical pain and discomfort, when I do that, is that it allows me to relax my mind enough to begin to receive guidance from my body, really begin to receive helpful information from my body about what the next step is. What's the thing I need to do next? What's the thing I need to focus on next? So, yeah. Let's see. Makes sense. Uh, so Leah says, that makes sense. Thank you, from what I was talking about before. Yeah, you just haven't felt like yourself for a while. Yeah, it's so important to get. I love that you said you haven't felt like yourself for a while, and you want to find that peace again. Yeah, because being in your human design experiment is about being in yourself, like recognizing and feeling like yourself, being emitting your true frequency. And that's where your power is, right? And then all of these other tools around healing and working with what your body is trying to tell you are really bringing you into the nuances of your personal communication system. So download that book and check out Quantum Touch. Very cool. And Dorothy says, I've experienced raising the frequency. Yeah, and it does work. Yeah, it can take a super high vibe that has a life of its own or complete presence to not meet the other's frequencies in the middle. Yeah, that's a lot of what we're going to work with on, especially on November 6th. And then the second part is about connecting with your higher self, which really takes you up into, uh, like, the first part of the workshop. On 6 is about the physical foundation, raising your physical vibration. And what I love about doing it in groups is that you your the group energy, even if it's virtual, has an effect that is like having a life energy, the high vibe having a life of its own. And then in part two, after you've practiced a little bit of those techniques through breath and focus and things like that, we're really going to add that extra nuance of getting into a higher level of awareness and connecting with your higher self to even bring your frequency up, or give you access to that higher level of frequency within yourself, through your connection with your higher self, and using that guidance from your higher self to facilitate healing, and even communication with other people where you may have issues around, conflicts and issues that really need to be resolved, that you can't resolve face to face. So I've probably bitten a lot more off than I can chew in in 2 sessions. They're 2 2-hour sessions, and they're probably going to be a little bit longer than that. So if you're at all interested in that, please go to the link that I have in the comments box for activate your healing power. I think that's what I call it. Activate your healing power, and check that out. And also, if you have questions, feel free to send me a message. There's a place on the website, the web page, to do that. And let's see, what else can I tell you? How do you guys feel? Just wondering how your bodies are feeling, and maybe what you've picked up that can be useful and helpful in terms of dealing with healing physical pain. Oh, go ahead and chat that in the box. And while I'm thinking of it, I do have a 20% off on that workshop if you register by noon Eastern time on October 31st and you use Sandy, capital SANDY as the coupon code, you can get 20% off of your tuition for that. So uh, please be sure to use that if you are thinking of signing up. All right. So, okay. My back is feeling a lot better. I don't, and I think I'm at the end of my notes here. All right. So let's go ahead and close our space. Take a deep breath. And let's thank the our guides and the energy beings that have been present for this. And of course the ancestors who have stood around the sides of our meeting tent here. And what I'm getting from the ancestors is that, they're just in awe of who we are, and how far their um, their genetic line, their ancestral line has evolved through us. And they're sending gratitude to us for the work and that we do together, and the presence that we have, and the shifts that we make, because it's not just about us and our learning and our um, evolution, our furthering of experience, but our every little bit of our healing helps to fortify the family lineage, the genetic lineage, all the way back to them and all the way forward to those who come after us. And they're just so appreciative of the energy that was released today that can assist them on their timelines as well. And let's just send gratitude out through our hearts for everyone who has been here for this particular experience, and love and gratitude for those who will come and join us in circle at a future time through this video. And with that, we're going to go ahead and pull up the tent stakes on the east, the west, the north, and the south. Roll our tent up until the next time. And thank you all so much. I do want to encourage you, if you've been going through these energy exercises, to drink a lot of water, and to remineralize yourself through trace minerals, or whatever mineral supplements you have, or mineral water, because as we use our energy, it it changes the cellular structure in our bodies, and we want to be able to refortify that and have our nervous systems working optimally. Let's see, you feel a bit better in the solar plexus. Uh, okay, and Amber, you have a question about human design and the gene keys. Okay, so and you have this is the first time someone has put a finger on what you're feeling as a projector, wanting to really dive into this work and finding an affordable certification process. Here's what I recommend, Amber, and I recommend this to anybody. And this is coming from my 3-5 have trial and error experience, and I've been saying this over and over to a lot of you. Welcome, by the way, Amber, to the the, um, the human design enthusiast fold. Um, uh, get a reading from whoever you can afford to get a reading with. Get grounded in your strategy and authority, and start your first 7-year deconditioning process before even thinking about certification. You really want, and this is from my experience of struggling the first few years in my deconditioning process and feeling like being certified in human design was the way to go. It was actually, it actually took me up into my head and out of my body. And I had to do a lot of retrofitting and a lot uh, of extra work on myself because I didn't recognize that I needed to have the depth of a reading on my own chart to understand myself before I could really use the information that I was mentally learning through my certification process. Because it's when you give a human design reading, it's part mental and it's part energetic activation. And it's so important to be aligned with your own energy frequency through knowing who you are in your design and living according to your design to be able to emit the right energy frequency and transmit what the person who's getting the reading needs to have in that moment. So that's what I would recommend first, is to find someone who that can at least get you grounded in your strategy, your authority. You work that out in your real life before you consider a certification process. Um, so, anyway, I'll get down off my soapbox now. And thank you guys so much for being here and being part of this process and bearing with me through my technical issues. I wish I could have shown you pictures and books. I love show and tell. And I think I'm going to have another one next Friday. The topic hasn't come yet. I was actually um, going to have Carrie Lee, the alchemical artist, on Monday to talk about her art process for healing grief. But we decided to move that into November because of her life and my life. So I know I mentioned it the last time. She will be coming. I know a lot of you are interested in intentional creativity and really bringing out the best in yourself and working through things through art and creativity. Yeah, you're welcome, Amber. You're welcome. Yeah, 7 years. I have a thing on deconditioning, a video here on deconditioning. Feel free to contact me, Sandy at sandyfreshy.com, if you can't find that video. And it's information about how you can, this whole 7-year thing and what it's all about and all of that. So yeah, so contact me if you can't find that, and I'll be sure to give you the link. All right, thank you so much, everyone. And until the next time, be well, be high vibe, uh, um, and just be your magnificent selves. Take care. Bye.